So a mixed number minus a mixed number. Remember, when we're adding or subtracting mixed numbers, there is no need to change it to an improper fraction. In fact, it's easier if you leave it as a whole number plus a fraction. So we're going to separate the whole number from the fraction. I'm sorry, that's subtraction. So subtract 14 plus the fraction 5/12. Remember, we are subtracting here. So 11/12 minus 5/12 is 11 minus 5 over a common denominator of 12. So that would be 6/12. 33 minus 14 is 9 plus 4 is 13, so that's 19. Next, this is a proper fraction. However, it can be reduced. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. The 6's cancel, and we get 19 and a half. So we could estimate this. Remember that 33 and 11/12 is between 33 and 34, but it's closer to 34. So we're going to round it to 34. 14 and 5/12 is between 14 and 15. 6/12 would be the middle. So it's closer to 5/12 is slightly to the left, so it's closer to 14. So we can round it to 14. 34 minus 14 is 20. So roughly your answer has to be close to 20, and that's what we got. Now it says estimate the difference and then find the actual difference. 5 and 9/11 is between 5 and 6. 9 parts out of 11 would be closer to the 6 than it is to the 5, so we can round the number to 6 rather than 5. 2 and 13 over 22 is between 2 and 3. It's 2 and a fraction. Now, right in the middle, if we divided it into 22 equal parts, would be 11 parts out of 22. So 13/22 is closer to 3 than it is to 2. So we're going to round it up to 3. So the answer is 6 minus 3, roughly. This is just an estimate, is roughly equal to 3. Now let's see what we get. We have 5 plus 9/11 minus 2 and 13 over 22. So remember that if it's a mixed number and we are adding or subtracting, then the best way to do this is to separate the fraction from the whole number. We are not going to change it all to an improper fraction. That's not the best way of doing these things in most cases. So now the denominator, we have 11 and 22. 11 goes into 22 twice. So if you multiply 11 by 2, we get a 22. So that's 18 over 22. And this is 13 over 22. So 5 minus 2 is 3. 18 minus 13 over 22. So that's 18 minus 13 over 22 is 5 over 22. Check that this is a proper fraction first, and then it is in the lowest terms for sure. So we can write it as 3 and 5 over 22. So roughly our answer or estimate was 3, and we got 3 and 5 over 22. Now, again, a mixed number and its subtraction. So we're going to separate the whole number from the fraction. We're not going to change it to an improper fraction. So 2 is 2 to the 1, 13 is a prime number, 13 to the 1. So pick the largest 2, pick the largest 13, and our LCM is 26. So 2 times 13, so we're going to multiply for a common denominator since they're unlike fractions. I'm going to multiply with 13 to make it a 26, multiply 13 with a 2 to make it a 26. And what we get is equal to 13 over 26, and this is equal to 20 over 26. Now we have to subtract. Remember, this is subtraction. 13 over 26 minus, remember the order is important when you're subtracting. Subtract 20 over 26. The order is absolutely important. You cannot switch the order. Now 13 is a smaller number than 20. The difference is 7, but it's a negative 7 over 26. This is very important when you subtract. If the answer is negative, make sure you make it clear to yourself. 20 minus 13 is 7, but 13 minus 20 is negative 7 over 26. 23 minus 18 is 15. I'm sorry, not 15, sorry, it's 5 because 1 minus 1 is 0. 23 minus 18 is 5. Now we have 5 minus 726. If it were 5 plus 726, you would write it as 5 and 726. The and means addition. But if it's a subtraction, now we have to think about it carefully. Now we have to make this fraction a positive fraction in order to write the final answer as a mixed number. So what we do is borrow a 1 from the whole number. And we go 1 minus 7 over 26. 1 minus 7 over 26, remember, it's a 1 over 1 minus 7, 7 over 26. So 26 is the common denominator. I can write 1 as 26 over 26, which is a 1, minus 7 over 26. Now when I do this subtraction, I get a positive fraction. So 26 minus 7. Borrow the 1, this becomes a 1. 16 minus 7 is a 9. 1 minus 0 is a 1. So it's 19 over 26, a positive fraction. So our final answer is not a 5, but a 4 because we borrowed a 1 to take care of the negative fraction, and it's 4 and 19 over 26. So let's do another problem which is similar so we get some more practice. Let's say I have a 28 and 1/3, and I want to subtract 15 and let's say 5/6. So we can subtract the whole numbers. 28 minus 15, 8 minus 5 is 3, 2 minus 1 is 1. But here we need a common denominator. 3 to the 1 is one of the numbers. 6 is 2 to the 1 times 3 to the 1. Pick the larger of the 2's, pick the larger of the 3's, and the answer is 6. Or you can go 6 times 1 is 6, 3 goes into 6, so there's nothing to think about. 6 is the common denominator. That requires a little bit of practice. If you don't feel confident doing that, make sure you use the factorization method, prime factorization method. 6 is a 6, so we don't have to do anything with it. So that gives us a 2/6. 2/6 is the same as 1/3, and a 5/6. But remember, we are subtracting. 2/6 minus 5/6, remember, is 2 minus 5. Don't switch the order. Over 6, which is a negative 3/6. Okay, we could simplify it, but if you didn't, that's fine. Now, since it's a negative fraction, we need to borrow a 1. So we can make this fraction negative 3/6 by adding it to a 1, make it a positive fraction. So 1 can be written as 6/6, because 6 is the common denominator, over 3/6. So that is 6 minus 3, which is a 3 over a common denominator of 6. So that is 12, and 3/6 can be written as 1/2. We could have done that earlier, but if you didn't see it, that's fine. This could have been written as a 1/2. So we write it as 12 and a positive half. So that's 12.5. 12.5 is 12 plus half. So this was just an extra example where we subtract and get a negative fraction. And how do we fix it? By borrowing a 1. Here it is 10 plus 0 minus 9 plus 1/3. We are subtracting the 1/3 from 0. So we get a negative 1/3. 10 minus 9 is a 1. Now, when we borrow a 1, basically the whole number disappears. It becomes a 0. We are subtracting the 1/3 from a 1. 1 is easy. You can write it as 3/3 minus 1/3 is 3 minus 1, 2 over the common denominator of 3, and you get 2/3. So what are the important things to remember? If you subtract and you get a negative fraction, you have to borrow a 1. The other important thing was, if the fraction is an improper fraction, the fraction that we get by adding or subtracting or adding is an improper fraction, then we have to change it to a mixed number, which adds an extra to the whole number. Okay, so these are the things to remember. First, do not change the mixed number to an improper fraction if if subtraction or addition is involved. Do not change it to an improper fraction. Leave it alone. Leave it as a whole number plus a fraction. For multiplication and division of mixed numbers, you have to change each of the mixed numbers to an improper fraction.